what can be best practice. And it's the time to be back to basic, really, because we have all the freedom that we want, and now the public asks for responsibility, asks for accountability, asks for accuracy. Even though before we feel that we have freedom and we can do whatever we want, but if we want to maintain this professionalism and to do good for journalism, we have to come back to basic. But to learn how to use social media more efficiently, in more professional way as well. I think that's what we have to adapt and to adjust with this new freedom, that all the media members realize that our power is much less than before, because before people do not have access to Google, and you have to wait for the media like prime time news. If you want to get idea of what's going on the whole day, perhaps you have to wait for prime time news at 7 o'clock. But nowadays you don't have to wait for anyone. You can just pick up your smartphone and you check the news and you know whatever going on in that very second. That means the gate power of the media has been lessened, but we have to get it back by being professional.
So you mean that the media have to look back and put it back, and the mainstream media should be the firm, what I try to use it, but the firm foundation for the other kind of media, particularly the social media, isn't it?
Yes. Right? And let me add a little bit more with freedom of expression. That's also another test. Yes, for the media, because even though it seems we have more freedom of expression,
particularly here in Thailand.
Yes,
right?
yes.
Even we are under the rule of the military, but we have freedom of the press.
Yes,
we enjoy that. We enjoy that.
Yes, to the extent we have freedom of expression, and the media in Thailand also have this kind of freedom. But we realize with the power of the people, power of the audience, that we have to do it. We have freedom, but it comes with responsibility, and we have to realize this is not just beautiful motto that we tell journalists, but it's the real thing that you have to take in your mind, that you have to report with responsibility. Whatever you say, whatever you do, have impact on anyone's life.
You mentioned, but I'm thinking that because both of you work under the public television, so you have that kind of principle. You stick or you adhere to code of ethics. That's very good. But imagine the other media organization, particularly in the social media, Facebook, YouTube, Line, suddenly they just send a picture to your mobile phone and the public get the news. And according to the latest study, they say that the fake news, now we know very well, we are overdone by the fake news. They say that fake news is run faster than the true news. And in this case, what are you going to give to the public, the advice, how to cope with this situation about the role of the social media? They come very fast, and the news also very fast, and with the fake news, and they don't check the news at all. We have learned that check and balance, isn't it? And also, it should be accuracy. What do you mention, viable about the impartiality? What else? Accountability, all that. But the media might think, hey, we have no time to adjust everything. So what we are going to do? Something like that, yeah?
Yeah. Yes. I think media literacy is probably the key to this, and all media outlets have to take in as a responsibility that to making the people being informed solely about the news, but also how the news were made. And that's part of being transparent in our operation. But according to the latest study by Reuters, they said that, but that's in England, maybe not, I don't know whether it's globally true or not, but they said people are not complaining so much so about fake news as we thought. Because people have the tool to kind of check themselves whether these news are fakes or not. That means by using it for so many years, people start to have their homemade literacy. They start to have the nose for the fake stuff. what they really complain about, and this is really important for all of us, they complain about poor journalism. That we in the age that journalists don't do the job half as well as they're supposed to do. They don't do enough investigation. They don't do enough fact checking. They turn themselves to be more or less like the social media or the influencers that we can find anywhere. So I think this is a very critical point in our career, and yours too, because you are the mass communication students. Whether we will make this disruption into a construction, a restoration of the values, that I think it's still, it's proven beyond all doubt. Some people say, well, young generation, they want short and it doesn't have to be. And you ask young people and they say, no, it's not true, that's your dream. Because you're a baby boomer, you think I want something short. I want something long and deep. I want real investigation. I want real story. Why don't you provide that to us? Ask yourself, right? Is that true? Right? Who think that what I say is true? I want to see your hands.
Okay, right.
You see, the young generation said that. But usually it's the old people who's being in the management who come and say, well, hey, you don't do that. They don't watch that. They want something short. They want something they can consume in 30 seconds. So the long form journalisms are dying. People who want to do something extensive are being blamed by the usually most of the time management. Say, well, that's too long. People are not going to watch that. So that's something to think about, I think.
Nattha, you want to add about this point?
Yes, that perhaps it's our understanding that perhaps the young generation do not want long-form journalism, but when we see they raise their hand, we feel more uplifting and have more power in working. I think, of course, with the, well, it's turned out that we speak about social media a lot, but that means it's very, very influential nowadays, and it means the newsroom has to adjust a lot with the power of the social media, because we cannot deny that it's another outlet, another powerful tool of communications, and people watch less and less TV, less people. Do you still watch TV? Can I see your hand? Who are still watching TV?
They hardly watch TV.
Perhaps you are too shy to say that. But I'm sure nowadays people are watching news program or real-time program on smartphone, and that affect ratings of TV, every TV channel, and that's the tough challenge for all the TV stations nowadays. So that brings back to how media literacy has influential effect. Of course, if the Thai people or the Thai public has been more active in terms of media literacy, that would be very good sign for media professionalism as well, that what we do when people understand the language of journalism, it means we can keep up with good quality work, because otherwise we will just race against or competing with each other just to get like, to get shares on Facebook or to get view on Facebook. And if that turned out to be the case, it means all the journalists would do whatever they can do to get likes and share, and that doesn't guarantee high quality. And I think that's very, very alarming for the whole profession of journalism. So let's get back, or what we can do to get back to basic of good journalism. I think that's very important, and media literacy will play a very significant role in checking on practice of journalists as well.
Very good. This, helped me to really, I feel quite relieved, when I heard that the fake news is go faster than the true news, the fact news. And Kun Pipope mentioned about, why I say Thongchai, because you mentioned Kun Thongchai, isn't it? No. Kun Thongchai, the one who say after Dr. Vitsanu Kriyangam, Mr. Thawatchai, Mr. Sawatchai, I was told that for your information, Kun Sawatchai is chairman of Media Reform Committee or not? No? Yeah, right. Sawatchai that you mentioned about Kun Sawatchai. That's why I'm going to say Kun Pipope. I just say Kun Sawatchai. Anyway. So when Kun Pipope mentioned that the public, they are not concerned that much about the fake news, but they are concerned about the quality. This is good, and also I felt really relieved that now the public still want the quality of the media work, right, in this case. So, now, turning back again, code of ethics. So both of you think, since when overall that you already gave your idea, still the Thai media still practice code of ethics very well, right? They know it very well, and they do their work according to code of ethics, isn't it? What do you think? Or social media, how you weigh between whether they still adhere to the principle of code of ethics? What do you think? They still do that or not? And particularly since the coming up of the social media, social media, because they have to get the news faster and very fast and grab the attention of the public. So how we are going to adjust about whether code of ethics they should practice?
I would say they are being coerced to do more. Okay, I wouldn't come and just defend that everyone is perfect. That's ridiculous. But I don't think that they are that bad either. I think it's the same. I start to repeating myself here. But the public and their scrutinies really help. Before this, we don't have a mechanism or don't have a tool to do that. We try to have the viewer council so that they can give us feedback, but the viewer council is not the real population. Now you have the social media, and as in Thailand, most people, I would say, they said people that their village don't have electricity, but they know how to use Facebook. So that's the reality of Thailand. I couldn't say it for the world, but in the village so far away, they don't have their own electricity, but somehow the kids in the village manage to use Facebook. So they charge their phone somewhere. Okay, but the whole point is that, so I think it's a healthy situation, but what I'm trying to say that we have to have a good balance too, not to go all the way, because we're not really in the business of popularity. News, Nattha now become famous, but she didn't start out aiming, what should I do to make myself famous? That's not our job. Our job is that we keep on saying things that is true long enough, and you gain trust. And by having that trust, you get recognition by your peers. And by doing that long enough, then the public start to trust you. That's the only commodity that we have all through our life. And I hope that, I pray that wouldn't change. Because if you have the news anchor person or editors coming out, or even managers, watch out for that, come out and say, well, our sole purpose is to make ourselves famous. Or be the most popular outlet in the whole nation, the whole world. I think we are on a bad track there, because our job is not about being loved, but I think we have to be trusted again, and by some time even earn respect for those who think that they can do wrong and get away with the public.
People, I'm not sure with popularity, because sometimes I had lecture at the university and young students couldn't even recognize me, and they don't watch TV at all. or they would have their anchors in mind, and that strike me not because of popularity, but I just feel that, oh my God, do young people still watch TV, or do they still want to consume good quality news? That doesn't want to claim that Thai PBS has presented good news, but we are trying our best, and I think management policy is really important, and the newsroom policy is really important to maintain code of ethics, code of conduct among journalists, and it's been on the ground at the Thai PBS for a long time, from the very beginning. And it's like battle, small battle in the newsroom, because journalists from the very beginning not very used to the main principle of code of ethics. Like for example, the Thai PBS was the first TV station which do not show the face of the suspect in any criminal cases when the police officer bring those suspects on TV. In the beginning, we asked the cameraman not to film them, and that's where the question raised in the newsroom, and high resistance in the beginning, because they think, oh, if other TV channels show them, why don't we also do it? Because we want people to watch us, we want rating. That tend to be argument. But later, good news that other TV stations also follow us on this very aspect, and I think that's very good that at least we are trying to maintain quality on this very aspect. And that's just one example of ethics in the practice of journalism. And it's been on the battle on the newsroom, and it's still fluid because there is no solid ground or no solid rules. And it's like the examination that we have to discuss, we have to make decisions every day. Like I'm editor of TV Thai PBS program. Sometimes I wouldn't have time to follow every scene or every image to appear on the screen. And it's the job of the producer who have to be very careful in checking all the image to appear on air. And some nights the producer will just approach me and ask me whether this is okay, whether this is right or not. So I think it's the explanation that I told them that once you have doubt, just don't show it. Because it means just listen to your own instinct. Be extra careful is better than not being careful at all. And it's no solid ground, and I think we have lessons learned every day, but it's part of everyday ethics in terms of sounds, visual, conversation, all the sentence, all the words are part of code of ethics that journalism, newsroom, management policy have to be very supportive and work in tandem. But the newsroom is not that peaceful because it's part of daily fight, daily battle in the newsroom as well. That's how I see it. And this is just Thai PBS newsroom. If you ask other newsroom, they would come up with other conditions, other situations. Like perhaps they have to think of commercial interest, not only ethical questions. So that's another set of questions for them as well.
But if they think of the profit that much, the public will know very well, isn't it? Right? Since we have a very limited of time, the last question for me, and after that I'm going to open the floor for the student to pose the question. How about if the media violate code of ethics? Are there any punishment or not? Do we have the law to govern that?
Actually, there's regulation by NBTC to watch the content quite closely. If someone bring up the issue and bring it to NBTC, they can open for investigation. Or sometimes if the media outlet find that they make mistake, I think the first solution is to apologize. Just apologize that we did bad or we make mistake, and we have investigation inside the organization. That would be essential to limit the damage. It's better than saying nothing and do nothing and just let it to go away, wait for the mistake to go away. In this day of social media, sorry, it's not going away easily. So the first thing is to admit that you make mistake. And for the case, if it goes to NBTC, we will be fined or we will be warned. Following that, perhaps Article 37, if I'm correct, that's example of regulation. But self-regulation That is very important. I think that's the priority.
Right, very clear. It's governed by the NTBC, the National Telecommunication and Broadcasting Commission. In Thai we call KSTC, right? Anyway, okay, student, your turn now to address any question, please. Yes?
First of all, thank you guys.
This microphone.
Hello. Thank you guys so much for coming. My question, you guys were talking about that the public is sometimes mistrustful of the media today. And I'm wondering, what are some of the reasons why you think that the public is mistrustful of the media?
My guess, because it's not scientific proven or anything, but I think the media disruption and the flourishing of the social media make the regular media start to imitate and start to don't have the critical, because they want to be fast. And I think that was wrong. Actually, one thing we learned from the K-boy incident is that the mainstream media, there's no point trying to be fast because you're slower anyway. So what is more interesting is to be a reference media, something that people can check with you at the end of the day, whether it's true or false. However, to answer your question, I think because at one time when we start to see this landsliding, we have to use that word, of the viewers going away from us, and everybody just use this, they call it second screen at one time in the history. Now I argue this is the first screen, and my television and Dr. Nattha's screen's probably second or third by now, you know, you testify to that. So I think that's how it happened. And many of us in a professional journalism's world started to imitate the social media, started to be less trustworthy, started to pass fake news as news. It happened, you know, and once you do that, they don't come out and apologize, they don't face the truth, and that's come to the critical point when the public said enough is enough. That's one take at it. And the second take is that people start to see and understand the process of news production as construction. Because now everybody has cell phone, and they know how to do, you know, clip or everything. And they start to know everything is selection. It's not news as, you know, given things. It's something that someone construct that. And once they learn that, they start to be able to differentiate between good news production and the bad ones. And by that, I think it's reflecting what I said prior to your answering, is that the quality of journalism itself has been decaying. That's the reason why the public stopped trusting us in the same way that we used to do. I might just want to add, if we're going to remedy that, I think we have to bring back the core values. Be slower but deeper. That's my
with the good quality of their work,
yes.
Also bring back that. Okay, you want to add on that? Oh, yes?
Okay, so regarding to this crisis, that it's honestly, we have to admit that it's really big for Thai people and also globally. But one of the things I want to ask is that, like during this crisis, all the media are covering this topic so much, like almost all the time, that we was like, as us as media consumer, you know, like news is also one part that we rely on to receive information. That's in present time, you know, there is government issue, there is cave issue, there is all type of problem that we are receiving from the news. But now at the time, how many times that we change the channels is all about the same news. Like, what do you think regarding on that? Like, we are missing out a lot of information that also equally important. But because of since this is a trend that going on, like, should we balance more on that, or why are they choose to do that too much, stuff like that?
So, what's your question?
So like, because like it's imbalance, like, you know, sometimes like we seeing too much of this content and we miss out contents from like others news contents. Like, you sort of understand the questions, like every time we watch the channels, the news always reporting about the cave situation, more about the cave situation, another cave situation, and we miss out other situation that we might receive on the news.
I think it's the situation during that 2 weeks. I think the whole world has been overwhelmed, yes, captivated by Thai cave.